Hey, it's Brian with Reclaimed Republic. I'm a full-time eBay reseller. I sell everything from toys, tools, clothes, pots, pans, and just about anything else that I can find profit in. You'll get the idea whenever we start going through the 17 items right here that sold over this past weekend. Before we dive into it, though, I'm going to talk about the thumbnail, which could seem like clickbait, and it could be. But I'm going to look at sales, talk about sales from this past week, where sales were a little bit slow as I wasn't listing as many items as I needed to keep the algorithm flooding, my store with sales. If you're a reseller, you're familiar with this. If you stop listing and you're not active in your store, your sales will basically almost stop after a day or two. And then once you start listing again, your sales start going back up. So this past week, sales were a little bit slow, and I think I had maybe 16, 18 sales, something like that, over 6 days, which it shook out to, it was 18 sales over 6 days. It shook out to 3 items per day is what sold Monday through Saturday. And then Thursday, I went on a little bit of a mission, listing mission, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those 3 days together, I listed 75 items and got those live, and it really paid off because yesterday, Sunday, it was cha-ching, cha-ching, 12 times yesterday, which for a Sunday is pretty good. For any day, for me, it's pretty good. I've got right now I'm sitting at about 385 items in my store. It was actually, it's going to be hard to keep up now because I'm going to try to keep hitting 25 items a day on every day except for Sunday, and see how fast I can grow my store. But really, so in one day I got 4 times the amount of sales that I got any other day of the week because I was flooding my store with new listings. I think whenever I woke up Sunday morning, I went from like 7 to 28 items I was eligible to send an offer on. So it was pretty substantial. And then looking at the sales from the weekend, so of the 17 items, just a side note, 7 of the ones that sold were sold on promoted listings. It's 41% of the items that sold. I talk a lot about promoted listings in my videos. It's something that is a kind of a cornerstone of my business today. It's really been helping drive, sales. I typically see anywhere from 50 to 70% of my sales come through on promoted listings, which is really just ranking. And I've had some questions in the comments, and I've tried to explain it as best as I can, but really promoted listings goes, compounds with your seller status and all that, and really puts your items higher in the search results as long as they're applicable to what people are looking for. So it really kind of gives you a leg up. I tend to promote at a pretty low rate, usually 2 to 3%. There's some items here. There's one you'll see here in just a little bit. I promoted at 5%. I had an extremely low cost of goods. The sell-through rate wasn't phenomenal, and so I put 5% because I wanted my item to show up as high as possible in the search results when people are looking for these items. So I hope that gives you some context around 4xing your sales. One easy step. There's no easy way to do it in eBay. You have to put in the work. You have to list items. You have to be interacting with your customers. You have to pay attention to your inventory, interact with that, spend time on the platform, and you'll get rewarded for it. It's really that simple. So let's get into the sales. I'm just going to go from the first sale all the way to the last sale. And so that's the order I'm going in. There's no dollar value or, best to worst or anything associated with that. We're just going to go start to finish. Let's take a look at this first item. This was cool. This is a trinket dish, ashtray, catch-all. It is whatever you want it to be. I called it a brutalist hand-carved ashtray. I'd seen some that sold before, and this exact one, actually, somebody sold a pair of them, not a single. But I picked this up at a garage sale. I went into this garage sale and they had their stuff very high priced. Not just for resellers, for anybody. Their stuff was very high. They were selling used pots and pans for like $15, which is just, it was pretty crazy. And I walked over and I saw this ashtray trinket dish and it had a 75-cent sticker on it. It's like, huh, that's pretty cool. And I didn't even comp it till after I left. I thought for 75 cents, I might just keep it if it's not worth selling, because I thought it was kind of cool. And so I had some quarters and I walked up and I handed it to one of the ladies and I said, here you go, here's 75 cents. And she goes, wait, what? And and I held it up and she goes, oh, okay, all right, thanks. And as I was walking away, I heard she turn around and talk to the other ladies, and then she goes, who put a 75-cent sticker on that? That was not supposed to be 75 cents. So seems like I might have gotten a steal at that garage sale. But in any case, I've had it listed for a couple of months and maybe 3 months now. And I've sent some offers. I've adjusted the price. I've relisted it. Ended up selling it for $10.30 plus shipping on an offer. Got that out the door. The next item, I like picking these up. This is a cool little item. Are these cassette cases? I don't think this one was branded, but it's just for cassette tapes. So picked this up at an estate sale. I think it was 24 tapes for $2 and sold it for $14.92 on an offer plus shipping. Every time I get one of the, if I see one of those and they're usually under $5, I'll pick them up, just because they tend to sell anywhere between 15 for the smaller ones up to 25 or $30 for the larger format ones that'll hold like 30 or 60 tapes. So those sell pretty well, and they're super easy to ship. They're light and they're pretty sturdy. So I like selling those. Next item is this. This is by a company called Doro. This is, I saw it in this box just like this at an estate sale. Like, what the heck is a bulk eraser? I mean, is this for notebook paper? I didn't know. So I opened it up. It's a cassette tape eraser. So if you have blank tapes you've recorded on, or maybe even on blank tapes, I haven't tried it, but you can slide your tapes through one at a time. It's called a bulk eraser because you can just feed tapes through, and there's instructions on the bottom of the unit. It messes with the magnetism, the magnetic strip on the cassette tapes. I'm not a cassette tape expert. I just know that you can record over, but you can completely erase them that way right there. It's pretty cool. So picked that up for $2. I don't think they had any idea what it was, but picked it up for $2. Sold it for $29.89 plus shipping. Had that one in my store for about 6 weeks. So had a pretty decent sell-through rate. I'm surprised it didn't sell faster, but I guess I think there was maybe one other one listed and there have been like 3 sold, but it's been within 90 days, so I guess it makes sense actually. Next item up is just a Cuisinart food processor stem. So picked that up. I picked up a whole food processor at a estate sale liquidation place for 50 cents. The DLC8 model, which is a great model if you ever get it. I mean, heck, I'd pay $20-30 for one, because you can strip that thing apart. And I ended up selling I haven't sold everything. I have the blade still, but I think I've sold everything else so far for about $110-$120, something like that. And I paid 50 cents for the whole thing. So I'm going to say this was free. Sold it for $9.89 plus shipping on that. Great items to part out. So easy to ship the little parts and pieces, and they go pretty fast. This next item is a stack of baseball memorabilia. So this stuff dates all the way back to the 40s and goes through like 2005. There's programs, rule books, Little League, American League, National League. There's so much stuff in there. I picked it up in an estate sale. Actually, it was in the video, the very first video I did on the channel. I picked it up at that estate sale. I think I paid $10 for the whole box of stuff, and it was you know, cool looking stuff, and ended up selling it for, because I knew I was gonna have to go through it, I just listed this past weekend. This is one of the items I listed. I think I probably listed it a little bit too cheap. I listed it for $29.89 plus shipping, just because there were so many different lots of baseball items. It was hard to comp. There's nobody that had this lot of stuff. So I was trying to comp it. I put it up for $29.89 plus shipping. I sold it in about 45 minutes. And that's when I went, probably should have sold it for $39 or $49 and seen if I got some anybody interested in an offer or something like that. But I'm going to more than 2x my money. It's going out the door. I'm happy with that. Next item up are these playing cards. The brand is Dealers Transportation. It's a company logo. It's just a trucking logo. So it's 5 2-packs. It's 10 decks of cards. Advertising for a trucking company, local to, I think there was a place in Oklahoma City, but then they had like, hubs, other cities. But picked these up at an estate sale for $1 for the bundle, and sold them all for $5.89 plus shipping. That's something I listed in this past, 75 listed items that went out the door pretty fast. So glad to see those go. Next up is this Salad Master. This is a staple item. If you see these, pick them up if you get them at a reasonable price. This is I think a 9-inch fry pan skillet. Has the steam evaporizer lid. I don't remember what they call that, but picked that up for $5 at a thrift store and sold it for $34.89 plus shipping. That's easy money right there. I've had it listed for about 4 weeks. There's a decent amount of them for sale, but they do sell consistently. It's a great cookware brand. So moving on from there, it's going to be this Sony CD player, tape player, radio. Picked this up had the cord, the antenna works, handle works, the battery compartment was pristine. Picked it up at a garage sale for $2 and sold that for $39.89 plus shipping. There was a lot of them listed. I did promote that one, I believe at 3%. And I thought it was going to take a little while to sell. It's one of the items that I listed this past weekend, and it sold in about 48 hours, 24, 48 hours. And I sold it right kind of at the middle to top range of pricing. I'm really shocked it sold that fast. But again, I go back to the promoted listing, my seller status, my shipping time, all that stuff combined, I think gives my item some advantage to maybe just the occasional seller who doesn't promote their items. So I believe it works. It's pretty cool. Next item is this Le Creuset lid. This is I think it's an 8-inch letter C lid. It's got the Le Creuset France stamp on it. It's a vintage piece. Picked that up in a lot for $1. Sold that for $14.89 plus shipping. It's a great brand. If you find the vintage Le Creuset, if you can get it at a good price, it's worth picking up. Especially that orange color. It's their most famous color. If you walk into one of their stores, you'll see about 70% of the store is all that flame orange or whatever fire orange color. And then they have some of the other colors as well. And then right after that this sold. I bought this in the same lot. This is a Descoware saucepan. It's a decent shape. There's no lid, but it's that same color pattern. It's got the gradient, so it's that red that fades into the orange, or dark orange that fades into light orange. But sold that. Picked that up for $2. Sold that for $14.89 plus shipping. Also, glad to see that one go. This one's gonna show up on my weekly video as this might be my worst buy of the week. Actually, this might show up as the worst buy. When I saw this at a thrift store hanging up. I was like, hey, somebody go tell Zach Morris he left his shirt here in this thrift store. So that's exactly what I thought when I saw this thing. If you know what I'm talking about, if you know what I'm talking about, put the name of the show down in the comments if you want to leave a comment. But yeah, so I saw this. I was like, oh man, that's going to sell. I know it. It's going to be awesome. They had tops 3 for $10. So I paid $3.33 for it. It was not worth it. I've had this thing listed for 4 months probably. I've been sending offers. I adjusted the price. And finally, I sent out an offer and somebody bought it for $7.42. I had it at free shipping. I'm going to lose money on that. I know I am, unless it's like getting shipped to somebody down the street. The cheapest I can ship that's going to be like $4.50, and that's already more than I paid for it. Plus, there's going to be fees, and yeah. But it's gone. I have cash in my pocket. I can go buy some more inventory that doesn't move as slow. So I'm glad to have that for sure. Oh man! Now let's look at a cool item though. This Coca-Cola little woodblock stamp. My wife picked this up. Sorry, I'm trying to get it in focus there. At an estate sale for $1. There's a couple items here she picked up at the same estate sale. She picked this up for $1, and it sold on an offer for $19.91 plus shipping. It's one of the items that I listed over this past weekend. So it's a cool piece. There was a handful of those type things listed. Again, I got it promoted at 2%, and it went pretty fast. So I was glad to see that go. What's up next? Oh, the Nike hat. This one, it was okay. I mean, not a great buy. I'm probably gonna maybe break even on this one. Bought this at a garage sale for $2. It's a little bit older of a model, but I thought it would sell for more. I didn't even comp it. I was like, it's Nike, it's golf, it's in good shape. Picked it up for $2. Ended up selling that for $8.90 free shipping on an offer. So I don't remember if that one was promoted. I mean, it was promoted. I don't remember if it got sold on a promoted listing, but I'm going to get close to breaking even, but I'll have my money back there. So anymore, my policy on hats is really, unless it's a vintage hat that's in decent shape, I'll pay a couple bucks for it. But other than that, I don't want to pay more than really $1 for a hat. If it's a new era, or if it's a flex fit, or if it's, a vintage like Zephyr hat or something, I might pay a little bit more for it, but it needs to be in really good shape and have some value to it. I've just not done well making great profit on hats, but I'm also not a hat expert, so I never spent enough time trying to be a hat expert. So I have to pick them up really cheap for it to make sense for me. And even $2 wasn't cheap enough on that one. I needed to pay $1 or really 50 cents probably at a garage sale for that. But it's going out the door. Glad to see it go. This next item is also an item my wife got in a little $1 bin at the same estate sale. I called it the Lazy Hippo. It's a little hippo. It's a pewter little figurine. She picked up 4 or 5 little pewter figurines for $1. That one did shock me that it sold so fast, because I listed it this past weekend. There was tons of pewter hippos for sale, tons. And on a 90 days, I saw one that sold. And if you want to see something funny, look up miniature pewter hippo figurine and look at, well, now this one will show up, but look at the other one that sold. It is a abstract art pewter hippo. If somebody didn't have the word hippo in the description, there's no way in the world anybody would think it's a hippo. It looked like a pewter snowman that had fallen over or something. It's really bizarre, but they sold that thing. So anyhow, paid $1 for that, sold that for $7.89 plus shipping, and the little Lazy Hippo is going to find a new home. This item, this is a cool one. This Secretary mug. This is a vintage mug. Really cool graphics. This is from the, I don't know, 70s or 80s. But it's got a nice maker's mark on the bottom. Royal Crown. Arnart. It's mugs, office mug. That brand, I saw quite a few things from that brand on eBay, but I was at an estate sale. They wouldn't let me film there. I asked and they were real polite about it. They didn't want me filming. But it was about almost 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago. I walked in and they had coffee mugs. They had a whole Steins, collector's mugs, souvenir mugs, all this stuff. And it said 5 for $1. I was like, whoa, okay. So I bought 30 mugs. So I have 20 cents into each mug. And I got that one listed for $9.89 plus shipping, and it sold. I listed this one this past weekend. That's what kicked off the 75 item listing spree, is listing 30 coffee mugs, because I had the photo booth set up and the little stand I had them on, and I just one after the other because I had a kind of a rhythm of how I'd turn it, my angles and everything, and I shot all 30 of them in, I don't know, maybe an hour, just a little more than an hour. So it went pretty well. This next item I picked up at, this is one, I haven't been to the Amazon bin store in quite a while, but this is an item I picked up there. This is by Hyde. It's a texture brush that you use for whenever you put the, not the spackle, I'm forgetting the name of it, that you put on your drywall whenever you're finishing it. I don't know why I'm messing up the name of it. But whenever you're texturing your walls, they use this to do what they call kind of like a broom or a mop finish. So you kind of have like some pattern. You'll see it a lot in ceilings. You don't see it a lot on walls. You see it a lot. My dad has this pattern on his ceiling. But it's brand new. Picked it up for 50 cents. It's been sitting for a while, but I sold it for $18.89 free shipping. It's lightweight. It's going to ship for probably about $5. So I'll still make some decent money on that. And then the last item that was also part of the listing spree this weekend is this lamp. It's hard to see because I have it all stretch wrapped, but the glass comes off. It's kind of a tortoiseshell, pattern glass. There's a 15-watt lamp right in here. Kind of see a little bit underneath. Plugs in. There's a big crack here on the back, which I called out in 2 different pictures and showed it. But it's very heavy. It's a very heavy metal base. Picked that up and I sold it for $13.40 on an offer. I paid $3 for it. I had listed it fairly inexpensively just because of the crack, and they didn't have a super high sell-through rate for that style of lamp. But I saw last night, I went in and I checked, and I hadn't seen anybody like the ability to send an offer on it. And then about 5 minutes later, I checked again and I saw the ability to send an offer. I sent one and the person bought it immediately. So happy to see that one go out the door. Similar to the number of promoted listings that sold, 7 of the 17 items, so 41% of the items that sold over this weekend were from that 75 that I sold. So if you think about selling inventory, typically you sell inventory at about 1% per day, as long as you're keeping your store healthy. I sold 10% of the items that I listed Thursday through Saturday over this weekend, which was pretty phenomenal. Glad to see that. Makes me, realize that I picked some pretty good items. I mean, I don't always pick bad items, but you'll see them in tomorrow's video, the bad items, which will include that shirt and that I'm sure that Nike hat. That's really all I have for the week. Just going back to what I started with, there is no easy button with eBay. If you want the results, you've got to put in the work. You've got to know how to comp stuff, how to pick stuff, how to take your pictures, and just present your items in the best way possible at the right price. And hopefully you have an audience for them out there. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or questions, leave those down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Have a great day.